Hey y'all, let's talk. So, what I want to talk about is interpretation. Um, so, I really been getting dealt with in this season about interpretation. And interpretation is basically your ability to see, um, your ability to explain things, your ability to call out what you see, um, the understanding of it, right? So a lot of times, like for instance, people get afraid of who they are, or they get afraid of what they see, right? So that's why God will sometimes only give you things in pieces. You know, he won't give you the full picture a lot of times. Sometimes he just give you nuggets, or um, he'll give you um, different pieces, and as you digest that, as you um, handle that, he will give you something. He will give you the next piece, right? So a lot of times, like, let's talk about prophecy. He prophesied in parts, right? So he won't give you the full picture, right? According to your level. Um, he'll give you things based on your level of understanding, because he understands that if he give you too much, um, you might not interpret it right, or you might get afraid of it, because a lot of times we let things intimidate us or whatnot. So you have to sometimes we just want stuff, you know. We want things out of fear of the unknown. We want to know things, we want to see things, and God like, nah, you ain't ready. You know, okay, since you think you ready, I'm gonna give it to you. And then it intimidates you. So I guess the main thing with interpretation is your ability to um, call out what you're seeing and see things for what it is, or seeing past things. Like for instance, parents, for the most part, a parent and daughter, a parent and child relationship. When you a child, it's only so far you can see. A parent has the ability to see a lot of things, to see past things. Same way with you and God, right? He has the ability to see everything, right? To see things that you can't see. Same way with a parent, they can see things that that child can't see. So a lot of times they protect that child because they understand that they not ready, you know, or they do things out of protecting, out of love, and trying to protect that child, right? Because they know there's certain things they're not ready for, certain things that they don't have the ability to interpret, the ability to handle. Um, they don't have the maturity to get through that, right? The same thing with like for instance, matter of fact, quick example. I remember when I was growing up, you know, when you're a certain age, you think from that age, right? So like me being 16, for instance, right? Um, you'd be like, hey, you know, I'm 16. Why can't I talk to an 18-year-old, right? This is what you're thinking when you're 16, right? You're like, it's just a 2-year difference. And I'm sorry, as you get older and wise and more mature and experience a few things in life, you know, you be like, okay, now I understand what my parents, I understand what my aunts were saying, what they meant by that. It was out of love and protection, right? Because now that I'm older, I'm like, ain't no way my 16-year-old daughter will talk to an 18-year-old. Because why? They're exposed, the 18-year-old is exposed to something more than the 16-year-old, right? He have the ability, he's legal to do certain things that 16-year-old is not able to do. He can buy cigarettes. In some places he can buy liquor. And if that person, if you're dealing with that person, then you become subject to being open to certain things that you're not ready for, even when you think you're ready for them. You know, and life have its way of showing you that you really ain't ready, even when you think you are. You know, or even when you think you're not ready, then life will also teach you that, hey, you're stronger than what you think. You have more and you know more than what you think. So, you know, however, which way it works, okay? Because it works both ways. So going back into interpretation, when you're dealing with interpretation, which I really heavily been dealing with in this season, my ability to see things, so my ability to perceive things, my mind set, right, my perception, outlook on things has been changing rapidly, you know, and just listening and being able to see things from different viewpoints, vantage points, okay? So getting back into the interpretation, sometimes I have an issue. I get choked up because it's like, okay, it's so many different ways this thing can go. I can interpret this way or I can go this way. You know what I mean? So sometimes my mind be going so fast, and then on top of that, I'm analytical. So I can slice and dice some things, and then you can get lost up in interpretation, right? So that's why you have to really seriously grow and pay attention and have an open mind, because things can go so many different ways. And just because you interpret it this way, somebody can come along and give you another piece to their interpretation of how you seeing things. So for instance, when it comes to people and things, your environment has a big effect on how you see things and how you interpret things. Because guess what? We are creatures that we create things based on our circumstances, based on our needs. You know, whether that's a bad habit, you know, a good habit or whatnot. And you get to a point in life that you start to figure out, you have to figure out your element, you know, what you good at, what how can I explain it, where you thrive at, okay? So for instance, if I'm a fish, right, a fish thrive in the water, right? You know, unless you a whale or something, or a certain what can I call it? What else is another? A whale, right? A whale can come up and be okay out of the water for a certain point of time, right? But even that whale got to go back into the water after a certain time, you know, because, yeah, they live in the water, but they have to come up from air sometimes, right? So it's the same way with your environment, because you are your environment, right? If you're not careful and you don't understand how to control your emotions, you will let your environment affect you. If it would affect you, right? So you have to learn balance of whatnot and know your element. If I'm a fish, then I know I thrive in the water. So why am I out on land when I know I'm a fish and that's where I thrive at? You know, so going back to, like I said, you know, it's certain phases, certain times in the middle of certain phases, certain times or whatnot that you go through. Just like a frog, for instance. When you're dealing with a frog, they start off in the water, right? It's a tadpole. So it's a certain phase, certain things you have to go through, certain processes you have to go through that you understand, okay, where you are. You know, you have to understand where you are and accept where you are. So if I'm a tadpole, then, you know, I'll probably be in water. But when I grow up and become that frog, then where's my element, my environment, where I thrive at, has changed, has transformed to something else, right? So where I used to thrive at, I no longer thrive at. But now that I'm a frog, I'm at another level. I'm in another dimension. So now that I'm a frog, I probably thrive. I thrive now on land better than I did in water. Don't mean that I won't go back. I can't get back in the water. You know what I mean? But I have to understand that sometimes you just can't go back. Okay? Sometimes you have to go forward. And that's what a lot of times happen in life, that when God is trying to push us out of something, we go back to what we're comfortable with or what we used to, and it don't work like that. Because you would end up dying in that same environment that you thought, or that you comfortable with, okay? That you thought you belong, or you thought you were comfortable in, okay? So I guess being able to see things for what they are. So, meaning trusting yourself. So if I know that what I used to be like, what I was, the environment I used to be in, that it's no longer working for me, why am I trying to go back to it? You gonna die in that. You know what I mean? A frog will die in the water now, because they're not meant to be. They went to another level. They have crossed over, right? So a frog will only thrive on land now. In the same way with life, what are you trying to go back to that's no longer working for you? That's no longer thriving, okay? So, like I said, sometimes my mind be everywhere, and I have so many different vantage points, so many different views, and you can interpret things so many different ways, and you have to really sit back and pay attention to life. So understand your season. Understand the season that you're in, and when you understand the season that you're in, you're able to maneuver through that season, and you're able to adapt and grow and persevere, okay, and push forward or whatnot. So I'm not gonna hold you guys long, y'all, because I really want to talk about interpretation and the different vantage points or whatnot, and how you will see depending on your level. Because hey, if you're a frog or whatnot, certain things, certain characteristics you're gonna have that other people ain't gonna have. You're a frog, which you might have the ability to leap into new things, you know, to hop into different avenues. You know what I mean? If you are a bird, you might be able to, see things on a whole nother level. You might have the view that you can see pretty good. So just understand and know where you are and work that to your advantage. Because like I said, you are your environment. And either you gonna die in it or you gonna thrive in it. So y'all be good. I would definitely double back on this because I'm at work. Mine going 100 miles per hour. But y'all be good. We'll pick back up.